welcome back to our live coverage right here on Local 4 Plus. You were just in the main theater watching business leaders and the power of and that is the theme of this conference, the power of and, things that we can do with policy and business, nonprofits and government. So it's a really interesting theme, and joining me now to talk a little bit about that and also an announcement this morning is Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, and it's good to see you.
Hi, great to be here. Thanks
we do have the best
Truly.
seats.
I never want to leave. I'm just going to stay here the whole time.
Going to stay here on the set as we stream here.
Well, a very long interview. Several
What do you want to talk about?
Yeah.
No, I would love to start off because you said, and the power of and was something that it really resonated with you.
Yeah, I love the theme because part of what we talked about today with drivers' restoration clinics, which are helping people restore their licenses. None of us can accomplish everything we want to do on our own, whether it's protecting democracy or a lot of the initiatives that are going on in the business community or in government right now. So the idea of the power of and bringing us all together to say how much more can we accomplish together. If we put even partisan differences aside and just be goal-oriented and solution-driven, we can do so much for the people of the state. And that's really what the conversations this week have been about.
Yeah, I'm always curious about the conversations that you find yourself in, because we were just talking a little bit earlier that's always the interesting part about Mackinac is I look around the room and see who's talking with whom.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wonder what deal is happening there. I wonder what the conversation is. And I can only imagine that people, when you're walking through, that they stop you. What are they telling you, or what are they suggesting to you? Because I know that everybody has suggestions as well.
Yeah, there's first of all, just everyone's just excited to see each other in this beautiful weather. But secondly, it's usually about the elections, saying thank you for protecting our democracy, thank you for what you're doing. What do you think is going to happen? But actually, what I've been getting more than anything else is I just went to your branch office, and it was so smooth. I love going to the Secretary of State office now. It's so easy. Even I was doing a radio interview this morning, and the host said, look, I just need to tell you, I just got my license renewed, and it went so smoothly. And that's really where I find a lot of joy in this job, actually making government work better for everyone. We interact with 10 million residents every year, and to know we're able to deliver more efficient government services than ever before through our branch offices is really gratifying. So getting that feedback firsthand from sometimes cynical officials and lobbyists who have seen it all to say, you know what, you actually fixed a problem in government, and it works better now than it did before. That's really gratifying.
What do you attribute some of the efficiencies to? Is it more the mobile units? Is it a staffing? Or is it more of the online, which again was a double-edged sword for people coming out of the pandemic?
Well, one thing we've done is really flip the way our services are offered. So when I took office 4 years ago, 25% of our transactions happened outside of branches and 75% were in branches. Now we've flipped that. So the vast majority of our transactions happen online or at self-service stations, and then that leaves a select few for the branch offices, meaning our capacity is much more abundant than ever before, eliminating wait times, and then having a better work culture where we have more people hired, less stress on those who are actually doing the work in branch offices. So it's a much more pleasant experience for all involved in the rare cases that you do have to go to a branch office. But the vast majority of folks just interact with our office online or at a self-service station while grocery shopping. And again, if we're going to require people to get licenses and license their cars and all the stuff that these laws require, we need to make it easy and efficient and smooth for people to meet the needs of the government requirements. And that's really what we've been able to demonstrate with our office.
Let's talk a little bit about the press conference that you had this morning here on Mackinac about getting people their driver's licenses back. And again, it's not the rolling infractions, it's more like forgetting to pay the fines or not showing up for court. And the impact really on the economy when you can get more people back behind the wheel so they're self-sufficient and able to get to jobs and able to do more with their lives, really.
Yes, yeah, it's been also similarly really exhilarating to intervene with people who have every reason to have their driver's license restored, but simply can't pay their court costs or fines, or for no reason other than they are in a cycle of poverty, can't meet the requirements under law to get their driver's license back. So these clinics that we've held close to 24 all across the state of Michigan, and hope to have more in the future, are reaching the 150,000 residents who are eligible to get their driver's license restored under the law, but don't have access to the tools and resources to do that. Our service helps them do that, meeting with lawyers for free legal assistance. In some cases, local officials will pay the court costs and fines that are incurred for these infractions. all with the goal of getting people able to drive safely back on the roads and then get to work, take their kids to school, perhaps get an even better paying job, and really be being a part of an economic engine.
Yeah, a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. I want to talk about elections coming up because people are still concerned about the safety of our elections, the integrity of elections. What are some of the biggest questions that are asked of you, and what can you tell people about what to expect when we're looking forward into 24 and beyond?
I think people want to know that when they vote, their ballot's going to count and that they can trust the results of the election to be an accurate reflection of the will of the people. And frankly, candidates who come into our state and try to cast aspersions or falsehoods on the process doesn't really help. But we have a responsibility to make sure, even with all the noise, that voters have access to trusted information about where to vote, and how to ensure their vote is counted. So one of the things we'll be launching in advance of 2024 is a ballot tracking system, so that if you do vote from home or vote early, you can track your ballot and affirm that it was counted. We also have 9 days of early voting that's going to be open to voters this year.
That is going to be a huge
It's a game changer.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already seeing the highest turnout elections in the past 2 cycles that we've ever had, but there's so much more we can do to reach even more citizens and engage them in the process. And expanding voting to be 9 days instead of just 1 day is going to be a game changer for how people can vote in our state. So a lot of what we're doing is not only preparing our election officials for that change, but educating voters about where to vote early, how to know where you go based on where you live, and all of that. And partnering with educational leaders, sports leaders, business leaders, the power of AND, to get more people helping us educating voters about these changes so we all can have confidence in the integrity of our elections.
Yeah, in the short moments that we have left, I know also transparency is a big issue for you as well, and as we look at our government transparency.
Yeah, we're going to be pushing for a lot of ethics reforms in our state government. I think we need to root out corruption. We've seen a lot of stories of corruption in the past that we can pass laws to avoid in the future. So I'll be working with lawmakers to end the revolving door, requiring more transparency for lobbyists and that sort of thing. And that's what a lot of conversations we're having up here are about too, how we can work together to reform the system we're in to make it more transparent and better serve the people of Michigan.
Yeah, and we'll be watching that definitely. Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, thanks so much for joining me. It's always good to see you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
And the sunshine.
I was just going to say, I know, the nicest place. Come back and see me. I'll be here all afternoon.